One of the really fun things to do in the Webelos years, as well as any other in scouting, is model rockets. And I thought I'd just make a video since we did this tonight, and I shot a little footage of the boys getting their shot at the launch. Model rockets, if you don't know anything about it, can be a little bit daunting, and it really shouldn't be. It's a really easy project. It's a lot of fun. The boys love to do it. I mean, it's like setting off fireworks. It doesn't get much better than that. So I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is. So to start with, you have stages of rocket kits, and these rocket kits can be a little more difficult to find than they used to be. I get mine from Pat Catan's, a local craft chain in Ohio. It's been told to me that you can get the kits from Hobby Lobby and other similar hobby stores. I know for certain you can certainly order them on Amazon, but again, even on Amazon, the selection has kind of dwindled over the years. So just to explain, there is an array of kits in stages, stage 1 through I believe 5, 5 being the most complicated to put together. This would be a stage 1 kit. Stage 1 kit is basically completely prefabricated. You're going to take it out of the box. It's going to be ready to go. This one comes with rubber band connected from the body to the nose cone. The fins are already on. You basically tie the parachute on and you're ready to go. So basically the way these rockets work is you have smaller ones which are lighter weight and faster. They're probably gonna gain more altitude. That's not always the case, because a larger rocket with a larger engine can certainly go just as fast, if not faster and higher. So with these rockets, you have basically, again, the body and the fins, which on a more difficult stage kit, the fins will come unattached. You'll have to figure out how to attach them straight, glue them on, make sure they stay in place. There's also the rings that are going to go on the Launchpad rod, which on this one are right here. Now you're going to see one on this end and one on the far end. A little more difficult to get a focus of those rings, but you have the rings, which you'll also have to manually attach, and then the nose cone, which will be completely separated. So all the rocket really consists of is the rocket itself, and then you have this rubber band, which when the engine reaches its maximum trajectory and the rocket starts to turn, this should blow off and the parachute should come out. And it should be kind of, apart like this. The parachute deploys and it comes back to Earth. I have 2 other rockets here that I really wanted to get the more difficult stages and have my Webelos den assemble them and paint them, because when they go through all that effort, they really feel like they've accomplished a lot more when they launch it, and that's really cool to see. They really feel like it's their rocket. When you pull one of these out of the box and you hand it to them and shove an engine in it and give them the launch trigger, it's exciting and they have a lot of fun. They love it, but it's not quite the same. This is the second time I did this with my son. The first time we built it from scratch over the course of a week or so and took our time, and it went really well. We had issues. I mean, you're gonna have issues every time, mostly with the igniter and mostly with what's in between the parachute and the engine. So the one thing I left out is before you stick the parachute in the body of the rocket, you have fire retardant wadding, which is really nothing more than paper, but it is a barrier between the very flammable plastic parachute and the engine, which is like an M100 on steroids if you're into fireworks. And fire is going to shoot up the body of the rocket and melt your parachute, and it'll come back to Earth a lot more quickly if you don't have that fire retardant in there. So this is one of the rockets that we shot off tonight. This was the Hijinks and Rascal kit. Both these rockets come pre-assembled just like you see here, with the rubber band already in place. You just have to tie the parachute on, put the wadding in, and basically it's ready to fire. It's really that easy. I just want to emphasize that. You know, if you're not into modeling, you don't want to get into that, you want to do the Adventures in Science requirement with the Webelos, you can still do it with one of these prefab kits. You're going to pay a little more for them, but still gets the requirement done. You have a lot of fun doing it. Just pulling these out of the box, explaining how the whole assembly works to the kids, and then lighting them off is going to fill the entire duration of one of your den meetings. So once we have the rocket all ready to go, we have the engines, which these are A83 engines. They come in packs of 3. They are never sold with the kits. You always have to buy these separate. In the kit, you'll find the engine just like this. And the engine simply, in most of these prefab kits, there's a metal rod that's got an indentation to hold the rocket in. You simply pull back the rod, slide the engine in, and let that clip fall into place. Now the engine's not going anywhere until you push it out of the way, pull the rocket out. So once you have the rocket in there, you need an ignition coil, which is nothing more than a thin metal wire that's separated and meets in the middle with a small piece of weld. This goes right into the hole, as far in there as you can get it. And I mean as far in there as you can get it. You don't want to force it in and break it, but if there's any gap, it can mean the difference of it igniting or not. You'll get a failure to launch, and that's the first place you want to look when you have that issue. And then all you do is you're going to take that, once that ignition coil's in there, you have a little rubber stopper you're going to force into that hole with the coil in it as tightly as you can get it in there, and then you're ready to launch. So to launch, you need a launch pad. Again, I'll caution you, the kits do not include the engines. You're going to have to buy them. You want to make sure you buy the right size engine. Every kit's going to tell you what size it requires. Again, this kit with the 2 said A83, so I got 2 packs of A83 engines for this meeting. But I had one of my son's rockets that I thought, oh, we'll launch this too. I found out when I got there, it looked the same. It's not. The A83 does not fit in this, and I'm not even sure what the size is. I just know it's a narrower diameter, so I'd have to take a look and see what I could find to actually get this off the ground at some point. But pay attention to the engine types. Those will set you back like 10 bucks for 3. They're not cheap. But then the other thing you're not going to have is the Launchpad. The Launchpad does not come in the model kit unless you buy a model kit with a Launchpad in it. The Launchpad simply consists of 3 plastic pieces that typically form a tripod. You have a base, you have this piece of steel that orients itself on the base pretty much one way to keep the tripod basically from melting. And once it's on here, that'll give it the rocket some momentum to get off. This rail here is what the rocket slides onto to get it kind of going in a straight trajectory. And you know, unless you got some massive wind, it's pretty much going to go up in a straight line. Most of these launch pads also have a nifty little wind sock, which you can talk about wind direction and all this with kids when you're getting ready to launch. You set this on the ground, the wind sock's going to pretty much tell you which direction it's in. This is an older launch pad, just got it a few years ago, but it has no correction for wind. I was pleasantly surprised in talking about wind direction and correcting for wind. The newer kit that we opened tonight looks very much the same, designed the same way, just a little bit cooler. It's got lightning bolts on it and stuff like that, but it has a little screw here with a hinge, so you can actually pivot the whole rail platform for wind correction, which we were playing around, just kind of almost had it going horizontally on the last launch, just to throw the kids off, because Once a few kids get a turn launching, then they all want to go running after it and try to catch it. And then the launcher, which attaches to the engine, which they're pretty much all the same. I have two of them here. They're pretty much two different colors. The only thing, again, I forewarn you about is I had this one. I figured this one was the same. This uses one 9-volt battery. This uses 4 AA batteries. Thinking it was a 9-volt, just guessing and not reading into detail and popping open the kit before I went to the meeting. I brought extra 9-volt batteries, and we ended up using the same launcher on both platforms. But the launcher simply consists of a long cable with 2 alligator clips on the end, which are going to go on those 2 metal pieces on the rocket. You have the launcher itself, which has a safety key. This also makes it a little more sophisticated. The kids get a little more hyped up. I'm going to simulate what the launcher should do just simply by closing the circuit by putting the clips together. But basically, you have the launcher, you press the launch key into the launcher, you should get a white light. That light has got to be illuminated in order for the launch trigger to do anything at all. And it's funny with littler kids, they'll do this, and then they'll go to press the launch button and let go, and they'll keep doing this. So it's easier if they just kind of set it on the ground, bear down maybe with all their weight to get this lit, and then you have someone make a big to-do about counting down, 3, 2, 1, push the button, off it goes. If it fails to launch, again, the issue is likely more times than not that metal wire is not up inside the engine far enough. So simply take the stopper out, make sure the wire's in there as far as you can get it, fasten on the clamps, and it's pretty much a sure shot that it's going to fire unless you got a lot of corrosion on the clips, something crazy like that, or you left the battery in here for several years and hadn't used it, and then the battery corroded all over the inside of the launcher. But I hope that makes launching model rockets a lot easier for you. Check out my other videos on YouTube. Like and subscribe below. Thanks for watching.
Hold on, one more. You'll learn that about me. I like to take about 5 million pictures and better stand there because it'll last longer.
Why? I got a helmet on top of my head. No, you don't. No, Jackie. Thinking. We need to push the button. Wait, you see? We need to push like the button.
All right, let's do this.
The launch side. Hurry, push the button. Woo! You need button. It is the button. Just button. Guys, it's just stay there. No, I'm getting him. Ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Parachute. Yeah, you don't want to let him up.
Walk it, our test.
Even though it'd be kind of funny. Hey now, sorry.
You guys can stuff this back in with the paper. Walk it and test it. Hey, good.
Ready, Lucas? Mr. Hale? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I got it!
Maybe you should tie the GoPro to one.
That one farther than the last one. That one was great in the tree. Hey, no cutting. I'm not. There's a hole! Oh, there's a hole in the parachute! There's a hole in it! Guys, there's a hole in it over here, so let's go over here! Look how much sand we got.
Mr. Hale, the honors. You gotta hold the key in and push the button. Do you see? Push the key in until you see the white light.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Nothing? Key in. Push and hold the key. Get the light?
Yeah, I got you.
Got the light?
Yes.
Push the other button.
It's gonna be awesome.
You have a white light?
Yep, Mr. Hale, may you do the honors.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God! Hit me! Hit me!
I want to find a window because then you're in.
Oh, it's that way. It looks like it's going this way. Yeah, it did. Because they need to remember.
1.
Uh-oh. How is it going over there? The wind. So much like God bless you, man. Now it's gonna go like Papa.
All right, so you're gonna put the safety key in. And you're gonna push with your right-handed, so with your left hand, push the safety key in and hold it until you get a white light. White light? Okay, so what you're gonna do is you need to keep that lit while you press the other button.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1. Minus 1. 0.
Nothing?
2, 1.
Okay, every time you're pushing the launch button, the light's going out. So push it down real hard. Lit? No? Nothing? Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh!